Let's see if it's working. We always check and see if it's working. Sometimes it's not working. See if it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We fight for direct mail and direct marketing every day, as you know. Okay, so we've even got some today. And here we go. Okay, so let's get over to Tom Fishburne and see what he's got to say for the week. Okay, building a moat. Okay, a moat. And obviously this entrepreneur took it very literally. He's got his shovel and he's digging a ditch while other people are putting up their task lists and what to get done next. And the entrepreneur says, the first question we're going to get asked is whether our startup idea has a moat. Okay, so anyway, an entrepreneur friend of Fishburne says that one of the most invariable and overused questions he gets is, what? It's funny because I've talked to a couple of venture guys and they never asked me about the moats. There isn't a moat around my latest invention. It's a beer cooler with some plywood and some frames in it. A crutch, he described the question, excuse me, as a crutch that venture capitalists go to when they don't know what other questions to ask. So maybe they had enough questions. More troubling, my friend put it, is that they're looking for a silver bullet. I wish Tom would have explained a little more what obviously a silver bullet, isn't that what you kill a werewolf with? I think a werewolf is a silver bullet and a vampire is a stake through the heart. I'm not too up on my mythology, or contemporary mythology, but I'm pretty sure a silver bullet is that, although I think the Lone Ranger had silver bullets also. And training a generation of entrepreneurs to over-optimize for a silver bullet versus helping them build a strong culture. There's only one sustainable moat in my mind, and that's culture. Anything else can be bought or worked around, including patents. I wonder if you can buy culture. I think you can. We'll talk about that a little more just in the next article, okay? I found his standard approach to the moat question very insightful. I responded, there are hard moats and soft moats, and the latter are most important, the soft moats. What I mean by soft moats are the 1,000 little things we can do that make us better than our competition, whom we have consistently been beating despite charging 3 to 10 times the price. So I probably have to raise my price. In the vein of culture, I think Tom, you got a couple of typos in here. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Let's just say culture. Maybe it should be in that vein. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I've been telling people it's easier to dodge one giant arrow than 1,000 little ones. No, up there it's 1,000 little things. Oh, that's why 1,000 little things are harder to dodge. Okay? So, but you know, the way you get to 1,000 little things, and this is left unsaid, is that you have a culture where you look for ways to improve. I've been in a couple dozen companies just as an employee, maybe not that many. Yeah, probably around that. I've been in, for a long time, I was in a lot of different companies, and I always had ideas for improving things. And what I found was, in general, no one wanted to hear them. Now, they might have been that we should put a lid on the coffee pot because, while it was a bun coffee machine that would be great at a Waffle House where you're always making more coffee and you're always filling it, at our ad agency, it sat for a long time. And because there was no lid, it would evaporate and get really rotten. And so I ended up putting a styrofoam cup in the top of it, which people didn't like, but it kept the coffee nicer, and I had the office closest to the coffee machine. I also suggested moving the coffee machine closer to the people. Anyway, in retrospect, I've had a few employees like that, and they're very difficult to deal with, because they always have a new idea that they think is really great, and you just say, let's get on with the real work. But it's those kind of people, those annoying people that always are thinking about how to make it better, that stay up nights and dream about it. Those people are the ones that it takes to get the thousand little things. And too often, the people that don't really want to work hard are dragging them down and complaining about them. I had another company that I worked at, and I was working some days 24 hours a day. We were programming a new order processing and inventory management system at night, and I'd sometimes work all night, go home, shower, come back, and they ended up laying me off. They said the other employees think you're more diligent than they are. Well, of course I was. If they got a call at 5:01 for an order, they wouldn't take the call. So I was always building new stuff and doing new stuff. But anyway, so I got fired, and that tells you something about the culture, right? What we're trying to find is, and Warren Buffett came up with this Moat idea in 1995, and it wasn't that great. So, but Elon Musk said, I think moats are lame. If your only defense against invading armies is a moat, you will not last long. Good old Elon cutting through the garbage. Okay? What matters is the pace of innovation. That is the fundamental determinant of competitiveness. And that's why he wants people to show up. He doesn't want them out there just wandering around. Although Samsung got a lot of innovation by sending their key management people out into the field and asking people what they wanted in a phone. Our startup ideas like Uber meets Warby Parker meets Birchbox meets Snapchat meets SD meets something else we haven't thought of yet. You had us at like Uber. Yeah. Okay, well, those days are gone. That was in 2014. Anyway, so let's go on. The Drum had an article today from Emily Lowe's, which said over half of the students see company culture as the most important when starting work. That's an interesting point. Now, they only asked 100 students. I read the whole article and got that. But there's a lot of opinion in here. But 105 students from 36 universities, so about 3 per university. It's a pretty small sample, and found that culture, hybrid work structures, and work experience were the top of the list for students to feel confident in their decisions post-graduation. About 25% start thinking about their career, their after graduation career in their first year. 34% begin considering their careers during their second year. Now, those could be mutually exclusive, or they could be combined, and maybe it's only a third. I don't know. But finally, almost half the students decide they better think about their career. Myself, no, I didn't. I went all the way through graduate school, got my master's in philosophy, and still hadn't really thought about it. And, then I went to job service and took a sales job, and did real well, and bonked my way around and got a marketing consulting job. How funny is that? There's a clear necessity and one of the things was they liked internships, okay? But most of the interns, only 43%, and I don't know if that's of the people who had interns, it says 90% said they were important, 53% had done unpaid work, 43% had done paid work. But I don't think those are additive either. I don't know. I was working on some student organization marketing, and that was part of why I got involved with it. Anyway, there's a clear necessity for employers to offer paid placements. Okay, so anyway, yesterday at church, there was a new kid at church, so I introduced myself and said, "What are you doing here? Are you going to come again?" I'm the unofficial greeter because I say inappropriate things. You should never ask those questions if you're a church greeter. Are you going to come again, or can I forget your name? Anyway, and he was doing an internship. He was up for the summer. He's doing an internship with Milwaukee Electric Tool. I think they just dropped the electric, which is funny when you think about all the people wanting to promote the electric idea. I think it's Milwaukee Tool now. Anyway, and he really liked it there, and he really liked it that they didn't expect you to work Sundays. You might have to get some overtime on Saturdays, but Sundays were off limits. And he was really pleased, and he thought that the culture was really great, and he really liked it. And I said, well, that's kind of a Wisconsin thing. We actually do take some of that stuff seriously. Some of it we do. Some places we do. And so I thought it was interesting that he really talked a lot about the culture at Milwaukee Tool and how much he liked it and hoped he could work there, continue to work there. I think he's in starting his junior year or starting his senior year at Arizona State. So it sounds like this is, right on. 38% of students mentioned that their career aspirations changed post-pandemic. Okay, and the idea of hybrid work and digitally based careers was a popular response, that they could take their job along with them. Okay, the vast majority of students mentioned Facebook communities within their field as a key place to look for networking and business opportunities. I thought that was interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that mentioned as a Facebook, as a use of Facebook. The LinkedIn, OTA, and Bright Network, these might be more UK things, were mentioned, but the Facebook thing was new to me. Okay, so now let's get to the last article for today. Justin, I think it is, as I did listen to the little audio. Old school, 9 tips for marketing innovation in an old school traditional industry. And I don't want to go through too much here, because some of it, thinking cloud, think again. He says that some industries like banking and legal services struggle with marketing innovation. Okay, they tend to be conservative, and what has worked will keep working. Manufacturers are quick to rely on what's worked, thinking it's not broke, don't fix it. But there's no better place to leverage the newest and hottest trend than an old school industry. What's funny is that, marketers are always into the next shiny object. And this article basically says some industries haven't gotten excited about the next shiny object, and it's already the next shiny object. So maybe they should. I think that's kind of a funny place. But, facial recognition. Now, I've never really seen that in a marketing article, which is it's just really cool. And I never thought of it because I think it's a little creepy. But what was really interesting was that they said facial recognition can be used for digital displays and signage to detect demographic information like age bracket and gender, serving more targeted audience stuff. Okay, now, would you be able to tell what gender and age I am? Old and irrelevant, right? I can hear that comment come through. Anyway, it turns out Unilever sells ice cream, and they also sell personal care brands, and they had a Share Happy campaign, and I've never seen this, and maybe we should track it down. The company leveraged racial recognition. Is that racial recognition, or did they just spell it wrong? Anyway, to award people with ice cream bars for smiling. I think it's supposed to be facial, but it says racial. So, and here's the spam risk. So, don't call me now if you know me, which you don't, obviously. So, that was an interesting one. Hyper-targeted ads. The trouble with hyper-targeting is that you're narrowing the offer to such an extent that, with catalog companies, we tried it. We tried it with best of catalogs or segment catalogs, and the seasonal ones work pretty well. But the best case or the worst case was with Musician's Friend. We tried a drummer catalog and a beginner guitar catalog and a professional guitar catalog, and what would happen is when you looked at what actually sold in the books. In the drummer catalog, we'd sell guitars. In the guitar catalogs, we'd sell drums. Customers don't play nice. They don't do what you expect them to do. So watch out for hyper targeting. You might find the one customer that'll always buy from you and ignore all the rest. So, Give people things that they may not think they need. Okay, augmented reality we talked a lot about. Very limited places to use, I think. Adopt virtual currency and incentivized ads. Bitcoin is down. It's down all the way to 18 months ago, and it's plummeted. Okay, my never mind what else has gone down, but it doesn't sound too bad to me. QR codes, of course, I love QR codes. The Internet of Things, I don't know how you do that one. I just don't. But let's just go skip to the one I like. The 9th one, create a marketing mix. Old school methods such as radio, television, commercials, and Media Post had or Marketing Week, I think, had an article that people with smart TVs watched just as much dumb TV as people with dumb TVs. I thought that was funny. Our antenna disconnected, and we didn't even realize it because we watch our smart TV and I like YouTube. I like learning things all the time. But anyway, direct mail, still valuable to companies and target a specific audience, okay? And you can use AR and QR codes with that. And depending on the audience, a touch of everything from direct mail flyers to word-of-mouth referral programs to social media shopping can be effective. Well, it doesn't sound like he has any specifics, but I would say that mail, and I'm working on an article, hopefully for Adweek, today. It's going to be my big day. And we're going to talk about how mail can give you more innovation information than any other media. And that's what we're going to work on for Adweek. But anyway, including more innovative ideas into the marketing mix can keep old school companies in the spotlight for growth and profitability. So try some things. I think you should have at least a 10% of your marketing budget should go for testing explicitly, and probably a little bit more. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Oh, and on Thursday of this week, 6 p.m., up at Jimmy's in Minnetonka, we're going to have a little get-together, just, get a beer, maybe some hors d'oeuvres or something, probably not much more. And it's by your own, by the way. But it's going to be fun. You don't have to eat either. You can have a glass of water if you want. We're not going to foist it on you. But come and we'll have a good time. We always do. People say these things are really worthwhile. And so we'll see you there. If you're coming, go over to WDMA.org and click the button and tell us you're coming. And that would be helpful. I think an email went out. We'll probably send another email. I was sending out personal invitations on LinkedIn, but whenever I send too many, even when I do it by hand, they warn me about bots. And it's like, hey, I'm breaking my wrist here, carpal tunneling all the people I know in Minneapolis. I have almost 2,000 first-level connections just in Minneapolis alone. And LinkedIn has really lost. They just don't have any way for me to connect with a segmented piece of my own group. If I bought ads, I don't know, but I don't understand why I should have to. If it's first-level connections, and I have gotten all thank yous. I haven't gotten any stop sending me these things. And as far as I know, my count of people hasn't gone down either. So people like what I'm doing, but LinkedIn doesn't. Their bots don't like my personal invitations. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart.